Hello, and this is Macarias coming at you with a Terran vs Protoss build order slash guide, which has helped me climb the ranks quite handily from being silver a month ago to just hitting platinum the other day there. So, or this morning I should say actually. So what we'll have here, we'll start off by sending out our first SCV that we build, and we'll build our first supply depot. Very important there, you want to get that down on about the 17-second mark. And you'll see me just sort of shuffling between my base here. My opponent just going for a fairly standard wall off, maybe with the gateway and the cyber core. Anyway, you see me flipping between the base here, but only really for show because you're not really doing anything at this stage of the game. Maybe setting camera hotkeys, that's about it. As soon as the supply depot's finished, I'll drop down the barracks there. And at this point, the next SCV that comes out of my command centre, I want to send across the map, scout, see if there's anything silly going on, see if I can maybe work out if there's a proxy. And I'll also take 2 gas here as soon as the barracks pretty much finishes, or it started building, because it's a very gas hungry build. It's a fairly you're not safe for the first couple of minutes using this build. You're not going to get an early amount of combat units. You're really going for a fast 4 Widowmine drop. So I meet the SCV here, I follow him back to the base just to make sure he's not going to try and do any silly cannon rushes or maybe try and interrupt my barracks building, which can set you back quite a while. Try and get constant worker production here, but you do want to take your orbital command as soon as your barracks is finished, just so you have the capability to scan or to... Oh, actually, no, I skip it here. I cancel the SCV and then switch back to the orbital. As soon as you've got 50 gas, you want to get your Reaper out. I'll saturate the gas once the Reaper comes out, and I'll be looking to build a factory. Pretty much once that Reaper finishes, I'll have 100 gas for the factory. You see me following the probe back to base here, just seeing that he's not going for an early expansion, so I maybe have to be concerned about some early aggression. There is only the one gateway here. I was a bit concerned that there was maybe a proxy on the map. I check and see at the ramp whether there's a block for the Reaper that could be coming out, or will be coming out in my case. Just pops out now and there, so at that point I swap out. I'll just take my camera off so I can see. I swap out start building a reactor on the factory as soon as the Reaper pops. And you should have that factory coming out. Reactor on the barracks, I should say, sorry. Reaper I'll see going across the map here. I saw earlier that he wasn't blocking off this area here, so it will allow my Reaper to get in, get some scouting information, hopefully get a few probes, but he does have that early adept. Nice little bit of micro with the grenade there. Will stop the adept from being able to really chase me down, but I'm not able to get out because of that shade. Try and dodge it at the last second, but he unfortunately does get off that last hit. Meanwhile, I'm building another barracks at home, because you're probably not going to kill the Protoss with this strategy. You're just going to maybe put them behind, knock off a few probes. So you do want to get a few additional barracks out. As soon as your factory finishes, you swap it onto the reactor that the original barracks built. It swaps down and builds another reactor, I believe, but more importantly, you'll get your starport out, and always make sure you've got a constant supply, or eye on your supply. I actually muddled up my wall off quite badly here, and you'll see, I think at this point, he'll try to shade in. He actually doesn't anticipate that my wall off was incomplete, and he could have got in there and done quite a lot of damage. There is nothing available to attack him, and the Widowmines would have been a few seconds behind. But luckily I see that mistake and drop that extra supply depot that I probably didn't want, just to ensure that there's no shades coming into my base when I've not really got anything to defend it. Meanwhile, another couple of barracks will drop down, and I will continue to crank out Widowmines. Once I've got 4, I'll be flying across the map with them, so obviously I need that starport. As soon as it finishes, you want to get that Medivac out there. I've got an extra barracks going down here. The idea will be, once the 4 Widowmines are finished, I'll swap the factory out, drop a tech lab so I can make siege tanks, and then fly one of these barracks up, just to have an additional barracks for factory production, because I'll not really be using Hellions or Widowmines from this stage. So yeah, fly the barracks across and drop the tech lab. Meanwhile, Widowmines pop out. So does the Medivac. I'll pick them up, and then there's just a couple of second delay while I fly across the map. Meanwhile, my opponent, he's dropping a photon cannon in the base, just too early for it to have any real benefit against this build. He does have the observer out, which is not good for me. I don't think I even noticed at this point whether he was going robo. I didn't know, so had no knowledge that there was this observer out. Obviously that's bad for Widowmines, because even if you have the armory, which won't matter in this case, they'll be visible all the time. Now, you'll see me drop 2 Widowmines in the base here, burrow them, and there's a lot of probe damage done. Another 2 drop in the natural. 1 burrows, the other will sort of try and follow about, because these probes will hopefully get pulled if he reacts to the first drop. He doesn't react in time though, and there's actually a huge explosion, and the Protoss leaves, having been put down to some 10 workers. I didn't actually see how many kills that last Widowmine got. It must have been about 10 or so. Well, we'll just walk through in slow motion. So, I don't think he reacts to the Medivacs coming out. About 410 you want to be sending the Medivacs. He actually pretty much looks away at the perfect time for me. He's looking at his natural base. Photon Cannon's not yet finished. These two Widowmines will drop. He's on 34 probes, and as soon as they hit, he's down to 21. So 13 probe kills between them. This Widowmine burrows, that will shoot the Stalker, or no, it takes out that one probe that just gets built in the Nexus. And even though he has the Observer, I do manage to get the Widowmine shot off, and 12 kills! 12 kills! And, well, at that point, you're surely just going to lose the game. 25 dead probes, and it's GG. So, yeah, that's a handy little guide for, like, the early levels, at least, for TVP. And, yeah, try it out. Widowmine drops are the way to do it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully be back with more StarCraft guides at some point soon.